as a parent, you're risking your child's life coming here, okay? So obviously things must be so bad that you'll risk your child's life to get here.
In the United States, almost 114 people every day lose their lives in the opioid epidemic. A little closer to home in North Carolina here, we lose almost 4 every day.
All my life, I started like I was nobody, but I always became somebody because of my ability to learn and to do the job the best.
I started my civilian law enforcement career in Rocky Mount, North Carolina 20 years ago. I worked narcotics for almost 8 years. About 5, 6 years ago, I became the chief of police in the town of Nashville. That's got me intrigued. What I'm used to from a police perspective is people don't want to engage in conversation or they turn around and walk the other way. Around here, it's just the opposite. Hello! People say hi and they want to know how your day is. Not a problem. Yes, sir. Small towns have that charm that I really think help a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good one.
The opioid epidemic here in Nash County has hit us pretty hard. It's swept in here pretty rapidly and it has affected a lot of people. Nashville is not a hub for distribution of heroin, but we have users here, obviously. In the United States, almost 114 people every day lose their lives in the opioid epidemic. A little closer to home in North Carolina here, we lose almost 4 every day. And then in Nash County, we've lost a number of individuals.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chief Bayshore.
In case you haven't heard of the HOPE Initiative, in a nutshell, it is an angel program that allows individuals that have a substance use disorder to come down to our police department. If they have any drugs or paraphernalia on them at any time, I tell them turn it over to me. I'm not going to ask you any questions, and we do not charge them with a crime, and we take them in and get them on the path to recovery. My job as a narcotics officer was that if you were in possession of a drug and I caught you, I'd put you in jail. And I thought at that time, and still up until I came to Nashville, that that was the function of the police. That was my job. When I took them to jail, I thought that I wouldn't see them again because they were getting the help that they needed. This program is a little different approach, obviously, that police are now starting to realize they need to take with individuals that have a relapsing brain disease, and it's chronic. So rather than try to pass the buck and allow somebody else to help those individuals, the police are now doing that.
Thank you, Lord, for those 300 and some who have come through the HOPE Initiative in the last 24 months. Lord, the
candlelight vigil that we did for our 2-year anniversary, we gathered at the courthouse steps. It's one of those things where you look around the crowd and you see a lot of familiar faces and individuals who are in the community working together, so it's not just me against the world. There's a lot of community members that have felt this epidemic touch their lives in some form or fashion.
We work very closely with the HOPE Initiative to be able to help the people that we love.
I'm the mother of 4 beautiful adult children. 3 of them are working toward recovery. I don't want my kids to die from this. I have friends, other mothers, that have lost children to this disease. They're my worst fear. I don't want to be that mom. I just wanted to let you know that Ashley couldn't make it this evening, but she just wanted me to extend thank you to the program. She's thriving in recovery. We're rural, you know, we're little compared to other places, but I guarantee you down this road that I live on, there's probably 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 people that have been touched, have children, or have had a family member die of addiction, just on my road. We light these candles for our loved ones that are thriving in recovery, for loved ones that are still lost, for loved ones that have passed. Please speak a name, first name only, out loud, so that we all can be with you in this time.
Brandy, Michael, Katie, and Dylan.
Brandon. Craig. Amen.
What led you here today?
I'm just tired of life. I'm ready to start over.
Christina came into the Nashville Police Department with her mother one afternoon, and she was obviously needing detox.
My biggest fear is getting the phone call that she's OD'd, that I'll be making arrangements for her funeral. That's my biggest fear.
When an individual that has a substance use disorder wants to seek help, many times it's a very confusing process to get that help. They come into the Nashville Police Department at any time, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and ask for our assistance. And so what we do is a short intake with them to determine what their drug of choice is, to find out a little bit about the history of their use, and then we take them to the hospital. So tell me what drugs you're using.
Mostly Roxy's. Starting in January, got real bad, using heroin and coke and some meth.
It's a very hands-on, person-centered approach to things. It would be easy just to drop them off at the hospital and say, there's the door, go inside and someone will help you. What do you know about this program?
I don't really know a lot. Mom told me some.
It's a voluntary program when individuals come through the HOPE initiative, and so we let them know right up front that we're not holding them against their will. It really is up to them to see the process through, but we'll be there to help them as they go through that process. What we're going to be discussing with you is what you want to do after detox. Long-term treatment, residential treatment, is one aspect that we recommend.
Absolutely.
And so, I don't know, I mean, I'll ask you this question, how long are you willing to go for?
As long as I need to.
Okay. Brain science says that it takes a minimum of 90 to 120 days, 3 to 4 months, for your brain to start to function the way it did pre-use.
Right.
You're not going to be able to do it in 30 days. In order for you to get to a point in your life where you're in a good long-term sustained recovery of 80+% being successful, it takes 5 years. So this is going to be something you're going to struggle with for a while, but every day is going to get better for you, okay? And all the things that you have lost will come back, okay? Of the 360 now that have come through our program, I know that 5 have died. I've been to 2 funerals myself. What I think about is that if the program hadn't started 2 years ago, how many more that would be. Hunter was one of the first ones, and I got to know him fairly well over the course of the time that he was in the program. North Carolina loses almost 3 or 4 every day, and so those numbers haven't dissipated at all over the last couple of years that we've been running this program. You know, we continue to try, and hopefully we'll reduce the number of hunters that end up in cemeteries. Hello, Nashville Police Department. Hey, how are you? We get them checked into the ED, into a room. They get a behavioral health assessment done. And then if they meet criteria, they go into a detox facility.
Did you spray your hands?
We've had individuals come through our program. We've sent them to detox. They decided at that point they didn't want to follow through with their recovery. They returned to the streets, returned to using again, returned to a life of crime. So Mom's here.
Got the shakes.
For the past 2 years, there have been many days where I just wanted to throw my hands up and say, this fight is too big for me. But then the sun comes up the next day and somebody else calls and asks for help, and it's very hard for me to say no.
That's part of it, ain't it?
Yeah.
I knew that the kids were being taken away and housed somewhere, but to say it's in my own neighborhood, it just kind of set me back for a while.
I don't know how many times I've pulled into here. I bring cigarettes back in the old days when I smoked, and you pay duty on them. I understand the idea of stopping illegal people, and I'm really more concerned about the drugs than I am illegal people. I really am. I taught children who came across every day who would talk about gunfire that they would hear at night in their homes, and that frightened me. That frightened me, and my wife and I have not been across in a long, long time because of that very reason. But as far as the rest of it goes, I can't say that I do. I'm not real happy with the parents for having risked their lives, but I tell them I understand. I really do. But I'm worried about those children.
If you look over here, that's Ursula right there. And there's hundreds of kids here suffering things that they might never get over. You know, they're going to be traumatized for life because of some decisions that a couple of politicians are making. You know, we have so many examples in the past of times in our world's history where people have been victim to these kinds of injustices, and now we're the ones, you know, causing the harm.
You know, as a parent, you're risking your child's life coming here, okay? So obviously things must be so bad that you'll risk your child's life to get here. And I understand that. I'm a parent, and I'm also a grandfather. And I'm telling you, taking away children, putting them in danger, boy, it goes against everything in my body.
It's such a beautiful area we live in here. It's a fusion of two cultures, of the American and the Mexican culture. It's where the Tex meets the Mex. I wish it wasn't this way, you know, because this place has a lot to offer, and it's sad to see it be disgraced by something like this.
I was shocked to hear that when the kids were being shipped here in Bristow, it kind of made it real, to me, very close and very personal to the fact that it brought it to life more than anything. I mean, I knew that the kids were being taken away and housed somewhere, but to say it's in my own neighborhood, it just kind of set me back for a while. Youth for Tomorrow is approximately 2.5 miles from the house. Drive by it often when I go out to the grocery stores. I do believe that the Youth for Tomorrow is a place that they will get some help and guidance. But for me, I mean, it bothers me, but you just have to keep going. There's nothing that you can, there's nothing that I know that I can do to stop it.
I don't have a reaction really to them being in the neighborhood. Once the kids are separated, if it becomes a fact that they're separated from the parents and they wind up being here, then I guess this facility is as good as any. I do advocate things that prevent us getting to this situation, getting to the point where we have thousands of people at the border trying to get in. I think we have to respect the humanitarian needs that these people have, but we have to maintain our borders. We have to do that. I'm struggling a little bit here. I don't know a simple answer. There's an old saying that sometimes you have to be cruel to be kind. There are all kinds of sayings about tough love. And this is a case where there's an element of toughness that's needed with respect to administering the borders. And we have to love our neighbor. We have to have in mind the humanitarian interest of those people that need help. Not easy.
I was taken when I was very young in Auschwitz. My family I lost. They died. The Germans killed them. To be a tailor takes you a long time to learn everything. When somebody comes to buy something, I know how to measure him, and I know when I fit him, he gets a perfect suit, because I know every step of the way how to measure a person. My name is Martin Greenfield, and I'm the tailor for all presidents. I was born in the Carpathian Mountains in Czechoslovakia. I was taken when I was very young in Auschwitz. My family I lost. They died. The Germans killed them. It wasn't an easy trip for me. They gave me different kind of jobs, but I always tried to do my job so I could survive, because my father always said, think about surviving. First time I had a lot of trouble, because in those days I was so young, I didn't know how to use the needle and thread. I eventually wound up with one shirt that I was able to save and I was able to wear. And that shirt I wore all through the concentration camp. I arrived in America in 1947. I started to work here as a boy, as a floor boy. I always learned the trade. So they promoted me till I became in charge of the place. We made suits for many, many people, many famous people. And presidents I dressed. President Clinton, President Obama came to see me, and he came on a Saturday. I had to spend the whole day with him. I could sit here the rest of the day to tell you how many people we made suits for. In order to create a business, you have to learn how to do things right and to teach your sons to do the same thing, and they are better than me. My two sons, Jay and Todd. Because of them, I'm still here working. Otherwise, why would I be here? I honor the people because without the people, I'm nobody. I have employees that come from every country that you could mention. I don't care if we have a black, white, and this. I don't see no color in people. All my life, I started like I was nobody. But I always became somebody because of my ability to learn, and to do the job the best. I never thought about the success. I'm always happy every day that I have still health to come in to work here.
I've always think myself as an American by heart, so today was just the day to make it official.
We're here for a naturalization ceremony where 28 candidates for citizenship will become new U.S. citizens, and it's extra special because it's Flag Day, the day that the United States adopted our country's flag, and we're here at the Star-Spangled Banner House where that flag was actually made.
I had someone telling me about a program through the military. It's called MAVNI program, in which if you serve, you'll get a citizenship through that program. So I went to a recruiting center and got more information about it. And since Portuguese is one of the languages that they were looking for, so I, enlisted in the military, in the Army. So that's how I got my citizenship. It's been a long journey, like 13 years. So of course there were moments that I was thinking, oh man, should I continue waiting? Should I wait? Should I go? But I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of support from my family. If you really want something where I have to work hard, there's sacrifices that you have to make. And one of those sacrifices is being away from my family, not being able to go see them. I learned to have patience, and it paid off. It paid off.
I don't think I'd be able to do it because it's been a long journey. It's been a struggle, and it's been like a nightmare.
These candidates today are going to take the oath of allegiance, the oath that says that they are here as an American, ready to defend the country and to participate in the democracy that we have here. They'll get their naturalization certificate, and that will be the official moment that they are U.S. citizens today.
I'm very proud of being part of the military, of serving the country that, I learned to love, that I adopted as my own. Sky's the limit for me now. It's just the beginning of my new journey. Now I'm going to be going to basic training in a couple of months, and I'm very excited about that too.
At Arches National Park in southern Utah, National Parks traveler Micah Meyer could see firsthand why it's one of the most visited sites in the state.
Even outside of the park and all around Utah, there are these arches that just naturally form from the rock eroding. But in Arches National Park are some of the most magnificent, either really large or there's two or three all clustered together, or there's a double arch where you can see through two arches at once. And then, of course, this delicate arch.
Delicate Arch, considered by many as the most famous natural stone arch in the world.
One of the most famous because it's essentially on its own on top of a hill with a giant vista and mountains behind it.
And visitors one by one take their time running or walking into the arch to take their picture, or waiting over here to take the photo.
After his visit to Arches, Micah took a boat tour.
I'm on the Colorado River, halfway between Arches National Park and Canyonlands National Park.
It gives you a perspective of this land which many people describe as Mars with water, because it's just so arid and so red and orange looking. It's just this really cool juxtaposition, not only of views, but of the wildlife that survives in the desert.
But for Micah, what came next was the real highlight.
Made it to the Island in the Sky portion of Canyonlands National Park just in time for sunset. This is where you're able to drive along a scenic road